everyone! So I'm going to be doing a little recap today of my very first capsule wardrobe. I did project 333 for the office in May, June, and July. So basically I picked 33 items out of my wardrobe and wore them every day to work for 3 months. It ended up being only about 56 business days because I worked from home a few days and I had a vacation in the middle and with all the weekends and all of that. It ended up being a lot easier than I thought it would be. I thought I would get bored a lot faster. I thought I would run out of combinations and the like, but I actually only felt bored once towards the end of the second month, so about 2/3 of the way through. And how I dealt with that was I basically started planning for my next capsule wardrobe, and by doing that I got excited about the concept again and I started experimenting with different combinations in my existing capsule collection. So I got over the hump of being bored and I was able to carry through, and I'm actually still quite excited about the capsule as it stands. I don't think I have to switch it up, but I will switch it up because there are a few pieces that I want to rotate in and out, and I also want to do this recap video. So you guys may know that I actually did up a little Excel spreadsheet for my capsule wardrobe, so I was tracking what I was wearing every day and seeing how many times I wore it over the 3-month time period, or actually the 56 work days. So I'm going to go through each category and let you know the top 2 or 3 things that I wore in that category. Let's start with shoes. I only put in 3 pairs of shoes and I wore them pretty evenly over the 3-month time period. So my most frequently worn shoes were actually these guys. So these are a pair of Guess heels and I love these. Just a very classic silhouette. It's basically a nude patent leather pointy toe pump, and they are quite high, but I find it really easy to walk in these in the office. So these go with pretty much everything, and I love to pair these with anything that's not black. So anytime I'm not wearing any black in my outfit, I will pull these out, and I ended up wearing them 22 times out of the 56 work days. Here are my second most worn pair of shoes. These are by Aldo and a very similar shape, except they're just all black, and again they have the pointy toe. This is my favorite silhouette in terms of shoe for the office. I ended up wearing these ones 17 times out of the 56. And finally, here is my third pair of shoes. These are Lauren by Ralph Lauren. These are very similar to the last pair that I showed, except they are of course a patent leather, so they've got the high shine to them. When I showed my last capsule wardrobe, one of my viewers actually noticed that these 2 pairs of shoes are very, very similar in terms of shape, in terms of color and the like. She actually suggested that I switch one pair out for my next capsule collection, so I'm going to give that a try. These do provide a very similar look. What I liked about having 2 pairs of similar shoes is that I was able to switch them out. I don't like to wear the same shoes every day in the office because I find that odors can develop and the like, so I like to put at least a day in between each wear. So by having 2 pairs of very similar shoes or black shoes, I was able to wear black shoes for 2 days in a row without actually wearing the same pair of shoes. So it did work out well having 2 very similar pairs of shoes in my collection, but I am gonna try switching out one of these for a completely different pair in the next round, and we'll see what I like better. So you may notice that the 3 pairs of shoes I actually only wore in total 55 times. That's because one day I actually worked from home. I did wear stuff from the capsule, but I didn't have any of my shoes here because I leave them in the office. So instead I just wore my Crocs and I went out for like a quick coffee meeting and came right back. So I included that in my day, but that's one day out of the 56 that I didn't wear the 3 pairs of heels that I showed. So next we're gonna move on to jackets and cardigans. I had 5 of them in my capsule, 3 cardigans and 2 jackets. The most worn piece in this category by far was this very simple short black cardigan. I did cut the tag off this one, but I think it was from H&M. This is very soft and very comfortable now because I've had it for so long and I've worn it so many times. I wore this a whopping 25 times out of the 56 work days, so this was a very well worn and well loved piece, and I'm going to be putting this in my next capsule for sure. Besides being my most worn cardigan or jacket. This was also my #1 most worn piece in my entire capsule. So the most that I wore an item was 25 times, and it was this cardigan. The second most worn jacket or cardigan was actually this denim jacket. This is by Point Zero, and I didn't think I would wear it that many times, but I actually wore it 9 times. I really love this piece because I find it dressy enough to wear on a casual day in the office without feeling super underdressed. I like the dark denim wash, I like the cut, I like the fit, and yeah, I just really liked this. The other 3 pieces I didn't wear as much, although the 2 cardigans did come in close at 8 wears each, but I didn't put them in this video because I didn't want to be listing off all of the items I had in my capsule. So next up, I'm going to talk about dresses. I only had 2 dresses and I love them both, but I found I didn't wear them as often as I thought I would. Maybe because dresses are more recognizable. I did wear the striped Calvin Klein dress more often, and I wore it 5 times, whereas the black sheath dress I wore 4 times. So very similar in terms of numbers. With the striped dress, it is very recognizable. It's very obvious when you're wearing the same dress over and over again. And normally what I would do with that is I would just wear it once, and then I probably wouldn't touch it for another like 2 or 3 months. I just don't like to wear stuff that frequently when it's that recognizable. But because it was in my capsule, I actually pulled it out more times than I thought I would, and I got compliments every single time I wore it. So people obviously did recognize that I was wearing the same dress over and over again, and I didn't really feel like I was overwearing the dress, so it was nice to have a piece that I loved that I probably wouldn't have worn as much, but because it was in my capsule, I wore it more often than I would normally. The next category I'm going to talk about is skirts, and I had 8 in my capsule. My most worn skirt was this black and white floral skirt. It's basically a flowy A-line skirt. I love this skirt. It felt great. It was so comfortable on those super hot days because it's a really lightweight, flowy material. Before I did my capsule wardrobe, I would have just worn this probably with a black top. I wasn't all that adventurous pairing patterns with colors, but since it was in my capsule and I couldn't wear this with black all the time, I ended up pairing it with purple, with teal, with red, with beige, and it just worked out fabulously. So I found that this was a very versatile skirt, even though it does have a pattern on it. And I am going to continue this in my next capsule as well. A very close second was this black accordion skirt by Uniqlo, and I wore this 9 times out of the 56 work days. Love this skirt again. This silhouette is probably my favorite for the hot summer days because it is so flowy. I got a lot of compliments on this. It's a very simple black skirt, but very flowy and very pretty, and it also goes with a lot of different tops. My next most worn skirt was this gray pencil skirt. I wore this a total of 7 times out of my 56 work days, and it just goes with a lot of different things. This skirt is extremely old. I got it at Braemar when Braemar was still around. I've gotten a lot of wear out of this, so this was definitely a great purchase. Before I move on to tops, I just have 2 more skirts that I want to talk about. My capsule collection was a mix of pieces that I loved, that I knew I would wear a lot, along with a few pieces that I was experimenting with. So these were pieces that I was either on the fence about or pieces that I wasn't sure would get a lot of wear, but I wanted to try it out. So 2 of my tryout pieces that I put in my capsule actually ended up being big loves for me. I literally thought I would reach for these skirts 1 or 2 times, but I ended up reaching for them a whole lot more than I thought. The first one is this striped skirt from Uniqlo, and it basically has olive and navy blue stripes. It's quite easy to pair. I love to wear this on casual Friday, but it's also dressy enough that I can wear it on a normal work day, even though it is a cotton material. I actually always wanted to wear this skirt because it was so comfortable and I thought really chic as well. The other skirt I was trying out is actually this like cream and peachy pink colored skirt. This is by Loft, and it's a pencil skirt type shape. It's a little wrinkled right now because it's been sitting in my closet, and I was actually able to pair this with tops that I wouldn't normally have considered, and I really liked the way it turned out. So I really love this skirt. I don't know if it's going to be in my next capsule because my next capsule is going to be a summer fall type capsule, but I'm going to consider it. My very last category is tops, and I actually had 15 tops in my capsule, but I'm only going to talk about one of them because I wore them pretty evenly, and the most frequently worn top was only worn 5 times, so that's not very many. I probably had more tops than I needed in my capsule collection, but this was also the area where I got bored the fastest. I'm not sure why that is because I had so many and I was rotating through them quite evenly, but I did get quite bored with tops. I felt like I was repeating tops over and over again, even though I really wasn't. So my most worn top, which was only worn 5 times, was this purple shell from Merona. I purchased this at Target. I love this top. I have the same one in teal, and I wore that quite often as well. But I love to wear this with pretty much any skirt. I found this purple, even though it's a bright color, it almost functioned as a neutral because it went with so many different things. I even wore this purple top with my pink skirt. I found it was almost like a color blocking type effect. It's also so lightweight and so breathable that it was easy to wear on those hot muggy days, so I really reached for this a whole bunch. As I was working through my capsule and wearing the different pieces, I noticed a few things that I was missing, and also a few pieces that didn't make me feel all that great. There was only one piece that I decided I was gonna let go of. I still have it now, but I decided to replace it, and that is my gray cardigan. This gray cardigan is from Zara, and while I really like it, I like the shape, I like the color, I like the fit, it's actually really old. I thrifted it at first, so it was already a little bit worn when I had it, but just from me wearing it all the time and through use, it's actually gotten a little bit stretched out. I think it looks a little bit haggard and pilled and the like, threadbare, if you will. So I'm going to be saying goodbye to that one, and I'm going to be replacing it with a very similar light gray cardigan for my next capsule. Other than that, I really liked all of the pieces I chose. There was one piece which was the pink top with the bow on it. That one's from Forever 21, and I found the armholes were way too big. I had to wear a little bralette underneath, but I still felt that it didn't look as polished as I would like. So I'm planning to get that either taken up or taken in so the armholes are reduced. There were a couple that I felt were a little bit more on the casual side, so I wouldn't feel comfortable wearing them in the office without a cardigan or a jacket over it. I would consider putting them in my next capsule because they are such great layering pieces, and they also go with a lot of different bottoms. So the other eye-opening thing about the capsule was I did find a few gaps in my collection. I figured I could really round out my work wardrobe by picking up a short blazer in black and also in a neutral color, because I don't like wearing long blazers with pencil skirts and the like, or, you know, summer skirts. I find it's a little bit too heavy on top. So I wanted something more cropped. So I put that on my list. I now only shop with a list so I don't stray from that. And I ended up picking up 2, which I will be putting in my next capsule collection. I just find the crop blazer gives a little bit more of a polished look than a short cardigan. And I was wearing my cardigans so much that I wanted something else or another option. The other item I was missing was a belt that's about this wide. I have a couple of skirts that need the belt now because they're a little bit loose and they sit too low on my hips. I like my skirts to sit right at my waist, so I'm gonna be picking up a belt for that purpose down the road, and I guess it's gonna be about a 1-inch belt. I have a lot of skinny belts, and I tried wearing the skinny belt with those skirts. The belt loops are about this big, and the skinny belt just didn't look right with such a big belt loop. So I think that's gonna be it for my recap of my very first capsule wardrobe. I love the Project 333 concept, and I love doing it for the office because it made it really easy to get dressed in the morning, and it was kind of a no-brainer. Everything I reached for I thought looked nice on me, and I got a lot of compliments throughout the 3 months. So I'm going to be continuing to dress this way and maybe extend it to my casual life, although I'm not 100% sure yet. So that is going to be it for today. I'm going to be working on my next capsule collection, so I hope you'll tune in for that. I'm hoping to have that posted in maybe a few days or up to a week from today. If you are doing Project 333 or another capsule wardrobe, please let me know down below. I would love to hear how the capsule wardrobe is working for you. If you have any learnings or tips to share, I would love to hear them as well. I hope you're all doing well, and until I see you next time, please take care, and bye for now.